What's up, guys? Welcome to Ask Matt, the 15th one of these that's gone by fast. As usual, if you're watching the replay, as I know a lot of you guys are, feel free to skip ahead a couple minutes as I wait for people to get in here and get our questions going. Yeah, I mean, no huge updates. Just I won't bore you with any news or anything like that, but just everything's going along great. A lot going on, a lot of new ideas. Just that's what I'm always saying. I'm always thinking of new ideas. I tweeted one thing saying that like entrepreneurial ADD is real. It's so real. Like I have so many new ideas, and sometimes I'm like more motivated to get some of these new ideas going than like just back on the grind of what you're already doing. I'm guessing a lot of you guys feel the same way. It's like it's so much fun to think of new business ideas. So that's where my mind goes a lot of the time. Checking in the chat. What's up, Tim? How's it going? Thanks for being an admin in the chat. Shit's getting real. How's the sale of the course? It's going really well. Yeah, a lot of people in there. Everyone's giving really great feedback about it. Since I had the test group going on since several months ago, a lot of those people now have products selling and they're doing well, starting to post great results and things like that. And everybody who's just now getting into the official course, everyone's loving the platform so far. I put a lot of work into making it really nice and polished and professional. So it sounds like that's shining through and people are really seeing that in it, which I am super happy to hear. What's up? What's up? What's up? Lots of hellos, lots of what's ups. How much time we got? Looks like we've got plenty of people in. So wow, we're at 62 already. Holy shit, guys. You guys are on top of this. I guess you guys must have hit the bell, but if you're watching the replay of this, make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button. That's how you'll get notified of when I'm live, and then you can hop in here and get your questions answered live. Let's see. Are you going to be wearing Gary's new shoes or flipping them? I'm not going to be wearing them because they're not even my size. It was funny. I traded for them, but they're actually size 12s. It's not my size, and I think I'm just going to hang on to them. I don't really care to flip them. It'll be cool to hang on to for decades or something like that. Can I sell under multiple brands without brand registry? Yeah, absolutely you can. You do not need brand registry. It's just going to give you some added protections in order to really like lock down your brand on Amazon, but it's totally not necessary. I am not brand registered on all of my brands. Well, I phrased that funny. What I mean is that I'm not brand registered on every single one of them. I am on some and not others. But so it's not 100% needed to have multiple brands. You just need, you can just create a new listing under a new brand name and you're off and going. Whereas brand registry is what you should do when you're really taking it seriously. You get a trademark, all of that type of stuff. The question's weird. My PPC campaign went out of budget in just 1 hour. I don't have any clicks or impressions. How is that? I would check back later. It might just be delayed reporting. It might show up, your spend might update in a few hours delayed. Other than that, if you tweaked your budget a lot, that might be why. Like, was your budget set to like $1 or something, and then you just upped it to 10, and now it's saying that it's spent? Sometimes it factors in your budget based on the time of the day, sort of. So meaning if you just update your budget, it doesn't mean that's like truly the new full day budget. It's kind of like pacing it versus what time of the day it is, if that makes sense. So if you're updating it throughout the day, that's gonna affect it. Any suggestion for international sellers? You really just need to figure out your legal business setup and your tax situation. Beyond that, you're really in the same boat as everyone else. You could run this business from anywhere in the world. I don't have to, like, what am I doing that is physically here? Not much. How's the plant? The plant's doing a little, I can't point the camera that way, but it's doing a little bit better. Jessica's gonna bring the plant. Oh God, this is embarrassing. Plant is not doing that well, but it's like, it's like slightly better. Plant was like 100% dead. Now it's like 95% dead. So Oh god, you guys are hilarious. I love that like the plant thing has become like a thing a little bit. How do you find the best freight forwarder? Ask in my Facebook group. There is a link to the Facebook group in the description. There are a few that are, even one that's in there, like people that I only want to recommend specific ones at specific times that are really up to speed with all of the Amazon stuff. So my short answer to that is don't just find any random cheap freight forwarder, but you want to work with somebody that has worked with Amazon FBA specifically. I want a company that can inspect product and ship and do shipping to Amazon from China to US. What is your recommendation? My recommendation would be that sounds like you need two different companies. You need an inspection company and you need a freight forwarder. So yeah, that would be the answer to that. The camera quality has improved. Love the 16 to 35 on the A7S too. Yeah, thanks. I like it a lot. It's so wide. It's like, I can't even, it's great. What's up? Checking through some questions. So many of you. I love that, these are so much more packed now. I remember the very first time I did it, I think we only had like 20 or so people maybe in the first one. Now we're up to 79. So I really appreciate you guys being in here. And a lot of you watching the replay too, like more than I would have ever thought would watch the Q&A. So I love that you guys are enjoying this even as a replay. Camera question. Sony A5100 versus G7X2 versus GoPro Hero 6 Black. What do you recommend for vlogging and merchandise? Definitely not a GoPro, I would say. I don't have a GoPro, but so I'm a little biased. And I'll just throw it out there. I'm not like a huge camera expert by any means. I don't even know which one the Sony A5100 is specifically, but I do like Sony. I like the G7X a lot. Jessica is thinking about getting one as she potentially starts a YouTube channel. And I've thought about even getting one just for my more vlog style stuff and then using this camera for the more cinematic stuff because this thing is not exactly convenient. The G7X is what I would go for that use. You could probably take decent merchandise photos on it too, I would think. But yeah, that would be my vote. What if you have a product that you don't just take a simple picture of, but need pictures when they are in use? It's a little more of a hassle than just having someone take a simple picture. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you need to find somebody that can shoot photos of it in use. That's really my answer there. And those photos in general, those are great photos. I mean, that you should always think about investing into that or finding people around you that could do that because that's really going to help sell your product so much better because it's going to show the customer what it's really like to actually be using your product. Let's see. Oh, if you cover that in your course. Yeah, I do actually talk about that. Towards the end, there's actually a little piece about that specifically. So that's in there. Let's see. Are GS1 barcodes mandatory? I have discussed this before, but the short of it is the only way to be a 1,000,000% sure is to go ahead and buy directly from GS1. Now that said, if you buy third-party GS1, I don't foresee anything absolutely terrible happening because 95% of all of Amazon is on those barcodes. So most likely if something does happen, you're going to be in the same boat as a lot of other people. There's going to be some sort of solution. Don't go with ones that are not GS1 at all, though. That would be a mistake. So either go for GS1 third-party cheap ones or direct GS1. PPC is hella delayed by hours. Yeah, they just removed my favorite report too. There is a little bit of a workaround right now, but it's probably going to go down. So they if you have that link to that old advertising report section, I don't know the link off the top of my head, but if you have that link saved from where they used to be, you can actually still access it right now. But the fact that there's no link to it from anywhere within Seller Central makes me think that it's not going to be up very much longer. So that sucks. I have no idea what Amazon is thinking with that. I love using that. That is the way that I would see my live PPC spend throughout the day, every day. So I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know why. That's like one of the two reports that I actually look at. It just doesn't make any sense. Amazon is weird. Everyone make sure to smash that like button. Yeah, I always forget in all of my videos, guys. If you like this channel, just assume that I said it. smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It really does help a lot. So if you're in here live, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching any of my other videos where I forgot to say it, please do that. It really does help. So I always forget, and I feel weird even asking for that, but it does help. So go ahead and do that all the time, or else. Is it possible to have a successful launch without doing giveaways and just some initial reviews and PPC? Yeah, absolutely. I've done it myself. If you had $1 million to invest, how would you? Interesting. Well, it depends like what I already have, or like if I just have $1 million and I have no business, I would probably take a couple $100,000 of that. And is that after taxes or before? Because then half of it's gone if it's before taxes. But let's say it's after taxes, $1 million in the bank and no business. I would probably take a couple $100,000 of that and just absolutely really attack what I'm already doing with this Amazon. I would like to, I'd really like to diversify. I'd probably put a few $100,000 of that into real estate, maybe get into like multi-units type of thing. Probably put some amount of it just in like index funds just to be safe. Probably a little bit in crypto just to play around. But yeah, for the most part, I'd put it into starting new businesses. That's exactly the position that I'm trying to get into, where I can just start a bunch of new businesses, but then I can also take profits from those businesses and invest them into things like real estate, where I can get that income to pay for my life, pay for my, where I live, pay for cars, pay for food, all of that, and then have all of the other money, all the profits of the business just go back into new businesses, and just that's really what I am shooting for. Looking for the multi-function like button. Yeah, I have yet to find that myself, but just go through every single video and click like on all of them right now, please. Don't leave this one though. I'm just kidding. How do you feel about having a VA? I've made a couple of videos about VA specifically. Definitely a huge fan of it. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say other than that is a massive arbitrage. The wage differences, it really is tremendous. And something that I've said in one of my videos before is that if you think you're cheating people by paying, what seems to be a very low wage to us, you have to realize that, like in the Philippines, for example, it's actually a really great opportunity. Like the limited amount of jobs there, plus how low wage they are, plus they have to commute. So they're getting what we want, which is to be able to work from home, to spend time with their kids, to make money from their computer. So in a way, you're giving them, and then they don't have to commute. Like they're saving money on other things. So it really is a great opportunity. My VA, I mean, hopefully he's not just saying it, but he says he really, really loves working for me, and I do not foresee him leaving anytime soon or ever. So, yeah. Any tips before FBA selling? Talking about people who are trying to make enough capital to start selling with FBA. Any tips on selling on Craigslist, Facebook Market, eBay? Yeah, so I probably will make a separate video about this because it's something I want to talk about because, FBA, you need to have money to do this. Like, this is not something you start with $0. And everyone starts looking into like affiliate marketing or drop shipping, which those things can be great, don't get me wrong. But I think where pretty much everyone should start is like a raw hustle like you described. Running around Craigslist, running around the Nextdoor app, running around the Facebook Marketplace, picking up stuff, flipping it on eBay. Maybe you're buying stuff on eBay and flipping it somewhere else. Like you need to just find those arbitrage. And I would say look at something that you particularly know about, and there's probably a lot of room there. For me, I was flipping vintage watches a lot. I could at any moment in time go make a few grand a month flipping vintage watches. Obviously, I'm not doing that now because I feel like my time is better spent on other things. But if you understand vintage watches, you can go ahead and flip vintage watches. So if you know cameras, for example, go run around buying used DSLRs and flip them on eBay or something like that. I mean, there's so many, and that will never like die or whatever because that's just pure hustle. It's not scalable. So it's not something that I am particularly interested in now, but I think it's the best way to get started. Let's see. Looking for some questions. Whoa, Graham Steffen's in here. What's up, Graham? How's it going, dude? If you guys don't know Graham, one of my favorite YouTube channels. I'm not just saying that. So go check out Graham Steffen. Big into, he's a real estate agent, and then he invests the money that he makes as a real estate agent into investment properties. So that's something that I hope to get into over the coming years. And he's definitely going to be my go-to source for that. And genuinely, he's one of the reasons that I jumped onto YouTube myself, because I saw the authenticity in him the same way that you guys, and what I appreciate hearing is that you sense that I'm just real, I'm just doing this. And I just saw Graham doing it, and I was like, he's normal, he's cool, he's honest, he knows his stuff. And I was like, I could do that. So yeah, definitely check out Graham Steffen's Graham Steffen's channel if you have not ever before. Let's see. In your Zero to Brand course, is there a specific minimum to start up with? Meaning starting capital to actually start your business. I never want, it's an answer that has actually gotten harder for me, because it's very, like, I would say, you know, 3 to 6 grand, 3 to 8 grand, kind of, that's what I typically throw out there. But at the same time, it's not impossible to start with a grand, but it's not optimal. So optimal is like 5 grand and up. You know, and I wouldn't even throw in any more than, like, say 10 grand, because there's no need to like risk so much up front, because you'll get plenty of inventory just off of, you know, 5, 6 grand, maybe 3, 4 grand. So that's kind of the rough range. But is it impossible to start with a grand? No, I just don't think it's optimal. It's more risky to start with less. That's something that I've been saying recently that I think is very key, is that the less you're risking, the bigger risk of losing that risk. I don't know if that made sense, but like, I feel like your chances of actually succeeding by risking more are better. So if you're risking less, you're going to do things that make it a higher risk to lose it. That's the way that I see it. Starting with 1,000 is hard. Starting with 6 grand, a lot easier, because you can do a lot more to really push. My first auto campaign is running at almost 100% ACOS. What's the first step to optimize and create a manual campaign? What am I looking for in the report? So first off, I would need to know how long that's been running, because of course you probably are aware the reporting is delayed. So there might not be all of the sales in there yet. But yeah, 100 is not great for an auto. I'm also curious how much you're actually spending. You might want to just try tuning the bid down and trying to just spend a little bit less aggressively on one like that. But what you can do is you can export the search term report. This is more to your question. Export the search term report so you can run the data on that campaign and see what keywords actually converted. Take the keywords that are converting well, leading to sales that are, you know, in the profitable range, dump those into a new manual campaign, run it as both phrase and exact. Exact because we know exactly what converted. Phrase because we'll be able to find more keywords later when we do the same thing again. So that's what I would do. Amazon continues to thrive, ever changing the retailer-consumer relationship. As Amazon grows globally, what do you perceive to be the main SWO and T's as a small FBA seller? SWOT. I feel like I've heard that acronym, but I don't know what that is. So I've got to skip that one for now. I can't, sorry. Yeah. Let's see. How do PPC costs get deducted? Are they taken from sales made or billed to your account? Huge tip right here. You can put them on a credit card. So not only will that delay how quickly you have to pay it off, not necessarily that you'll rack it up as interest, but just that you can delay your payment, and you can get rewards on it. So no brainer, put your PPC on a credit card. There is the option to have it just deducted from your seller account balance also, but I would not do that. Let's see. Are you still doing consulting calls now that you made your course? Yeah, for now I am. But I'm not going to say I'll necessarily be doing it forever. You know, I don't want to say, but yeah, I'm doing it for now, but I might at some point not. We'll see. Yeah, but the link to both of those is in the description. If you use a VA for customer service or something where they need access to your seller account, how does that work? Customer service is being a full-time job now, so looking to hire it out. Look at the user permissions tab in your account. You can set up sub accounts within your account where a user can have limited access that you can choose. That's how you're gonna do it. Oh shit, Francis is in here. What up, Francis? I love you too, Matt. I love you too, Francis. That's awesome. How do you feel about testing the market with 100 units instead of 500? Only if it's a very expensive product. Otherwise, it's not enough to test. Because what if it, like, what people don't understand is that it takes time to get traction. It really does. So you might, like, you're not going to know what's going on after only 100 units. Like, I hope that makes sense. Like, meaning, like, by the time it takes you to sell through those first 100 units, you won't even know yet if you have traction. You're just going to be even more confused about if you should reorder. Now, you might strike gold and be profitable on those 100 units, but what if it would have been after 200 units that you finally got traction? So to me, it's hard to test with very limited units. I would only consider that if you're like getting into a very expensive product, perhaps, or maybe if it's a niche where you just want to go wide and like have a lot of different variations that are related, then you might that might be possible. Where in the settings can you change the charges from credit card to charge FBA account? It's right up in there. It's like the drop down on the top right, and then I think you click account info, and it's like charge methods for advertising. I'm not looking at it right now, but if you just click into there, I'm sure you'll see something that says charge for advertising, and that's where you set it. How do I know if a product needs some sort of certification before being imported? That is definitely a tough one. I'm not an expert at every type of product, of course. That's something you want to be careful with. You can talk to freight forwarders about that. You could also talk to Asia Inspection, which is who I use for inspections. There's a link. They do testings as well and regulation type of stuff. So you could always ask a company like that and just do some Googling around, you know, some common sense even if it's a product that you think could have those types of issues. I scrolled down a bit, so I'm caught up to the bottom. So if you're in here live, drop some more questions because I am scrolling on down. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, threat. Okay, so SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, strengths in regards to Amazon going global. I think the upside is that we are on a wave right now. You know, Amazon continues to grow, continues to have dominance. I continue to spend more on Amazon as a consumer. You know, I just started using my Chase Amazon Visa at Whole Foods. You know, I think, I mean, I like to say, I've made this joke before. I don't know if I've ever said this on this channel, but I make this joke in person all the time, is that, like, I always say that I live in the Amazon ecosystem because I make my money on Amazon and then I spend my money on Amazon. And I just see that, like, continuing and growing. So I see that as an opportunity. Threat-wise, you know, I don't know. I think that the opportunities, if you know, opportunities will just shift as Amazon grows. Like, I think new opportunities will come as old ones get, as some opportunities get smaller, some opportunities get bigger. It's just like an ever evolving, changing thing. So, yeah, I'm not sure I have a much better answer to it than that, but I think that it will just continue to expand and to evolve. But I don't think there's any weakness of Amazon getting bigger. You know, a lot of people are afraid of, like, oh, what if Amazon starts selling my product? It's like, you know, I don't know. They're probably not going to. And if they do, like, why can't you still have your own angle against them? And you should be looking for multiple products anyways. Like I always say, you shouldn't be just relying on one product anyways. Jungle Scout Chrome extension estimates my sales way over real, about 26 times more than my actual sales. Not accurate at all. What category? I'm actually really curious. Drop that in the chat, what category? Because sometimes Jungle Scout will go out of whack, like temporarily, I've noticed. Right now, I was just noticing, I'm curious if anyone has had this experience, but it seems like the pet category right now is way crazy high. as far as I know, those numbers in pet are not accurate. I don't sell in pet, but just from what I know, from what I've seen, looking at the numbers over the years, it seems like those numbers are really elevated right now. You also have to be really careful in some of the obscure categories like the Launchpad or the like handmade categories. Jungle Scout will pull some weird stuff in those categories sometimes. But other than that, you know, I find it to be pretty strong. If I am looking to make a premium product that costs double to make and the market is saturated with generic stuff, would it be worth charging a higher market price when you have no initial traction? Yes, absolutely. If you price the same as those inferior competitors, people will not know that yours is different. There are many successful businesses in the world that charge double for something that is comparable, but better. And so you need to price according to that. Now, you might not come out the gate at double the price, but maybe your competitors are 20, you start at 25, maybe 30, thinking that you might eventually get up to 35 or 40. You know, price is not set in stone. Price is something to be tested. Let's see. Looking for some questions. Do you offload any FBA tasks other than customer service to VAs? If not, what would be the most inclined to outsource? What would you be most inclined to outsource in FBA business? Personally, for me, anything graphic, anything photo editing, that is all outsourced. Even like the uploading of those photos into my Amazon listing, that is done by my VA. Included in customer service is more than just messages, monitoring negative reviews, responding to those with comments, sending replacements to customers who have issues, sending refunds to customers that have issues, removing negative feedback when that's allowed. Yeah, I mean, all of that. What I don't outsource, I think, is more interesting, and that is the stuff that, like, even if you're outsourcing graphic design or something, you still need to have the vision for your brand. That is your job. So you need to have the creative, you need to have like the salesmanship. So the copywriting, I don't outsource copywriting. You could potentially outsource copywriting at a high level. I would consider outsourcing copywriting, you know, if you're really bringing in some serious profits and you want to hire like a professional copywriter, like US based, you know, you're going to spend $1,000 or something on it. That could be interesting. But that is not something to just like cheaply outsource for sure. Let's see. Will you be doing these live chats every Thursday? So they've been just random so far. I don't know if my last one happened to be on Thursday also, but honestly, it's just been kind of like whenever I decide to. I know that's not the most convenient for everyone, but I'm always impressed that a lot of people jump in. We're at 94 right now, and a lot of people watch the replays. So for now, it's just going to continue to be random. I'm not the most organized person in my life. So, you know, while I would say it'd be nice to have it like every week at the same time or twice a week or whatever, like, probably not going to happen right now. I like especially with just this YouTube platform, like I like that I can just do whatever I want with this platform, you know? And like, that's something that I really want out of this. I want to start making some other types of videos too. You know, vlogs, Q&As, maybe just some more like straight to the point, like Graham Stephan style videos actually. Like I love Graham Stephan style because he just goes, we're talking about this and talks about that. And, you know, the vlog thing gets a little fatiguing for sure. Like I've been a little slow on the vlogs lately. Hopefully you guys are still in it. Hopefully you guys are still with me. But I'm gonna step it up. But yeah, that was a bit of a tangent, but yeah. Let's see. Do you do your own bookkeeping? No, I have a CPA, and I have the same CPA that does my taxes do my books. And that is very intentional because I want one firm to be responsible for my shit if something were to happen. So I don't like, I mean, you can do what you want, but I feel like it's a bad idea because if you have your books done somewhere cheaply and then you send it off to your CPA, well, now the CPA is just being like, okay, like they're not actually doing anything to make sure that it was done right. So then it's like if something were to happen, they would blame them and they would blame them, and I don't like that about it. So How often do you get a haircut? I literally just got a haircut right before literally this live stream. So right now, I've had this haircut for about 2 hours. Usually it's like 3 weeks though. It's not that often. That's funny. Best time to launch a product? Yeah, Tim's answer is great now. You know, there's no point in waiting. Because even though I tell you Q4 is the best place to be in Q4 is to already have some traction rolling into it. So yeah. Do you answer DMs? Yeah, I really try to. I get pretty flooded now, but I do answer a lot. If I don't respond to yours, of course, don't take it personally. It's just that I got buried. I do try to get to a lot. Instagram, Facebook. Definitely what I will say though is the Facebook group is the best, because what's good about that is that if I answer your question, others can benefit from it. Others people have the same question, whereas the DM is very private. I love doing the DMs, but it's just hard to like, I would spend a lot of time. So don't take it personally if I don't answer your DM, but feel free to hit me. Again, you're in no way annoying me. It's just that it's hard for me to catch up with all of them. And one thing I will say is that sometimes I get some DMs that are just really, really long. And while I really appreciate that, and I wish I could just like sit down and like read this really long story, like those ones are really, really hard for me to get through when I have a whole bunch. So I kind of just like, sometimes I'm just like, I can't read this right now. So like, you know, if you have a question, like just like a little straight to the point, it won't seem rude to me at all if you just go straight to the point. As much as I like the background, sometimes it's just a lot for me to read as I have a bunch of messages. That's what I would say about that. But yeah, I love the DMs. Don't feel like you shouldn't DM me, for sure. Let's see. Would you do in-person training and mentoring? I've done a couple of my like consultation calls where I'll meet up because people are local. I'm open to it. I probably need to charge slightly more than the regular consultation calls just because I have to like physically travel somewhere to meet someone. So it's not something I'm like trying to push because, to be honest, it's like less convenient for me, right? So, and I don't want to have to start charging just so much that it doesn't make any sense for you either. If I'm going to continue doing consulting, it needs to be win-win. So, how do you track daily PPC spend now that Amazon changed it? Yeah, I ranted about this a little bit earlier in this Q&A. I'm super pissed. I don't know why Amazon would take that away. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's one of the few reports that I would refer back to very frequently. So I'm not excited about that. Hopefully they realize that people were using that and they can reverse it real quick. For now though, if you use the link that used to lead to that page, it still works. So that loophole is probably going to close pretty quickly because there's no actual link to it from Amazon. But if you just have the URL saved, and I don't know it off the top of my head, sorry, but ask in the Facebook group or something, and we'll get it posted in there. But if you go there right now, it still works, but that'll probably close. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like the campaign manager view and sort it by today, that's the next best thing we have, but it's still not going to be great because it doesn't update nearly as quickly as the advertising reports view, which was essentially live. The campaign manager still lags behind by several hours. So I don't know what Amazon was thinking about that. I really hope that they reverse that. It just makes no sense why they would. It just makes no sense. But I don't even know. But it's not that big of a deal. Don't let this like scare you. It's like we always every time Amazon changes something, everyone freaks out for like 1 minute, and then everything always settles back out. So you know, it's not that big of a deal. It'll be fine, but it's just annoying, and I don't know why they would remove that one. Any plans to make a new car purchase in the future? If so, what? Yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. I don't know when or exactly what for sure, but I have stuff in mind. I mean, I love Porsche. I'm a huge Porsche fanatic. I know that even if I don't get a Porsche next, I will have multiple Porsches in my future. But I heavily considered. Well, for a while I considered Cayman GT4. For a while I've been looking at this local gated manual Gallardo, Lamborghini Gallardo. But I don't know because I really want a McLaren, but that's quite still a jump above. So I don't know if I'll just like hold out for a while and then make a huge leap. which is what I did in the past, actually. If you don't know, before I had my Porsche Cayman S, I was driving a 1988 Nissan 300ZX that I got for $3,700 8 years before that. So I had that car for 8 years and it was $3,700, and then I jumped from that to the Porsche, and now I have the Porsche. So if I jump from that to the McLaren, it'd be kind of like the same like progression. Do you have any experience with Viral Launch as a product research tool? No, I haven't yet tested it because I already have Jungle Scout. From what I hear, so take it with a grain of salt, I'm sure they're both good. I've said this before, I'm not like a tools junkie. I'm not a tools fanatic. The tools are cool, they help, but I think people get really obsessed with the tools. They spend so much time figuring out if they should switch from this email follow-up software to this other email follow-up software. And it's like, the difference is so marginal. So I think either of them are okay, but yeah. But the reason that I talk about Jungle Scout still is because that's the one that I have experience with. And I can still do everything that I need in Jungle Scout. So I actually don't know from what I hear, Viral Launch doesn't really have any advantage. And if you already have Jungle Scout, then I don't know. But if you don't, then, you can look into either one. But yeah. Jungle Scout's been doing it a lot longer too, I'll mention. So if anyone has the most data, I would think it would be them. Looking for another. How long is the lag until the listing is live after the carrier has delivered? So after the carrier has delivered to Amazon, usually you get the check-in email like that day or the next day, but then they might be transferring it around warehouses for a few days. So it goes up pretty quickly, within a day or two, up to a few days. If you see the in stock on date thing on your listing, that's because they're moving it from other warehouses. But to me, I consider that as in stock. So I would just start going. Scary is monthly long-term storage fees. Yeah, they just released that they're going to be increasing in like 6 months. It's bad, but I think it's not as bad as people initially thought, because yeah, they're going to be charging the long-term storage monthly instead of every 6 months, but it's not the same. Like it's proportionally more, yes, but it's not like you're getting hit with that 6-month fee every month. It's just like it's spread out more, right? So Justin, what's up, Matt? Stoked to be on one of the live Q&As. Have you ever seen multiple names trademarked? Do you recommend trademarking your name after getting a good amount of sales for protection? Have you ever seen multiple names trademarked? I'm not sure exactly what you mean there, but yeah, you should consider trademarking your own brand once it's something that you're serious about sticking with for quite a while. Sales are rolling around, everything's doing really well. Then you should consider getting a trademark. Multiple names trademarked, not sure what you mean, but if you mean that there might be another trademark existing for your name, that can be okay because trademarks refer to the industry that they are in. So if there's a trademark on something that is in a totally different industry than what you're getting into, then you're still okay to use that. Is it smart to airship my first order of 500 units even if I lose a little money on it? It's relatively small and light. If it's relatively small and light, then it shouldn't be eating that much into your margin to airship. If you're talking like, $1 difference or something like that, that is not a big deal. I would definitely favor speed, and something that I do on all of mine, even if for me personally, I'm willing to lose money up front. So even if I have a heavy product, I'll air freight some of them, like a small quantity, just so I can get selling sooner. So I definitely think that that is a good strategy to get some shipped by air. But you shouldn't be like losing money. You might be cutting into your margin, but as long as it still makes sense, then yeah, I would absolutely favor that. Let's see. Wait, so now you get charged when a product is there for a month. No, the long-term storage fee is still going to hit after the 6 or 12 months, but it's going to charge you monthly instead of twice per year. So rather than having two huge charges twice per year. It's just going to be like a monthly charge that starts after it's been there long term. Do you recommend starting an automatic email follow-up platform such as JumpZend or ZonMaster from the start? Yeah, you should definitely have an email sequence day one. Do I always have to request a sample if I know the product is very simple and looks good on video? I would still say yeah. I mean, why risk it? You know, of course it's possible not to, but why risk it, I would say. After your initial sales, should you put money of your profits toward expanding or in your pocket? Back in the business. Like, you cannot take profits right away. You're going to need to be ordering more inventory or looking at new products. That's what I say. But you know, one thing that I haven't really said is that it depends on your goals for this business. You know, if you just want it to be a nice little side thing, then, you know, maybe you don't need to go as aggressive as I have, which has always been to roll a ton back in and try to really push the limits of how much I can afford to grow. If you just want to make a couple grand on the side and you see that money and it, like, you know, I don't want to like impose my goals onto you. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's totally reasonable to, like, you know, make a couple grand a month on the side doing this and be happy with that. But I just think you should try to turn that $2 grand a month into $4 grand a month into $8 grand a month. Just like keep pushing. Because if you get comfortable with where you are now, that's a risky place to be. Like, it might just go down over time. So it's not just gonna go on for the rest of eternity at its current pace. Let's see. Interesting. Have you considered that your videos as a well-known FBA seller could be an influential medium in providing feedback to Amazon? Maybe you should do a regular video to call out changes, etc. I mean, that's interesting. I don't know if I'm like quite at the level of actually being like heard by Amazon, but that would be pretty cool. I have not thought about that. So that's an interesting idea. You know, maybe potentially eventually myself and other influencers around Amazon could all sort of like, you know, bring up awareness around these topics. And yeah, I mean, that's reasonable to think that. I don't know that any Amazon executive is watching this video. Did you get the new Gary Vee shoes? Yeah, I traded for them. Interestingly, somebody who went to the LA meet, because I didn't, they got them and they actually really were interested in my new course. And like, you know, Gary's been saying, oh, these shoes are going to flip for $1,000 and all of that. And he offered to trade me for the Crushing It shoes with the Crushing It laces, all of that. So I was like, you know, why not? So I thought it'd be a cool story. And, you know, he got in out of that and I got to hang on to the shoes out of that. Those ones in the background are not, those are the other ones. Those ones are signed. Will you ever do a case study with an individual or a product? I've thought about, like, you know, a lot of people request this of myself and other YouTubers. Is like, oh, like, you should launch a business just for YouTube as a case study. And like, while I love that idea, like, that's a huge undertaking. Like, I mean, I don't know that that's the best use of like my time and resources to launch something just as an example. It's like, I'm going to be basically working on a business as an example. That's like a big undertaking. So I don't know about that. I would love to eventually, potentially, I have an idea. I don't want to like put it out there yet fully, but like I could see myself starting a brand more around a passion of mine, something that I could grow more long term, and maybe that would be something that I would just 100% just talk completely openly about and just like be fully showing everything about it. It's just an idea. I don't know, but and also like, yeah, I mean, probably I'll have like case studies of people that I have helped. That's something I've been thinking about. I'm actually curious what you guys think, because I've never done like just the casual sort of interview style on my channel. but like some people ask for it. Sometimes I feel like it sort of cheapens the channel if you just have these like interviews. I don't know. It's maybe that's just my sort of perception, but like if I just had like short little videos on this channel of like me talking to people, sort of like consulting on the fly with people that I've helped before, you know, talking about the progress that they've made and me giving them tips. Like, let me know if that's something that you guys would like, or if you feel like that is something you would skip over. I'm curious. Yeah. I'll do a couple more and then that is it. Tim, I keep telling Matt to do case studies of other existing brands. Yeah, I've thought about this, and there's something weird, and it's weird about consulting too, is like, I guess I'll just say it, is like, the more, like, I talk to people, like, I have so many product ideas myself. There are so many industries that I am personally already in, or I'm advising people, and then I expose some, and there's just so much like conflict of interest. It's like if I talk about one niche, then there's gonna be one person that I had a consultation call of 6 months ago that might feel like that's their niche or something. Or maybe somebody consults with me and they have an idea that I already had. It's just this weird thing, and it's like, it's hard to balance that, because truthfully, I've looked at like every product, you know? Like, so if somebody comes to me with a product idea, it's not like it's new to me. It's not like it's, you know, like it's just a weird area as somebody that is both helping people and doing it and exposing it on YouTube. It's like, how do I like balance that without pissing anybody off? I hope that makes any sense. Curious what you guys think about that also. And then I'm going to wrap up in just a sec, but yeah. The shoes are selling for $400 now. Will you take that much for your course? No, I'm holding on to the shoes. I think they'll be worth more than the course. Yeah, that's why I did it. I mean, I know the shoes only cost like $100 or I don't even know, but it was so limited. If you guys aren't aware, it was only like a few hundred pairs or something. So, and it's like the Gary Vee limited shoe. So I'm sure they're going to go up in value quite a bit more. Do you still do private calls? Yeah. Where do we book one? The link is in the description. I just updated the link. I think it's just mattloberstein.as.me. I think that's the link now. Check the description to make sure that I got that right, because the link just got changed. But yeah, I still do those. Coffee brand, I called it. Yeah, I'll say that one openly, and then somebody will probably be like, "Oh, I'm doing this," but like I've thought about doing a coffee brand. Jessica's doing it. Oh shit. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about doing a coffee brand. You know, I mean, I've thought about, like, you guys know I'm obsessed with, like, you know, all this like health stuff that I talk about. I've thought about that for years. If I potentially were to document one just openly, it would probably be in that space, because that's something that I talk about anyways so much. I've, you know, like, you know, I mean, I won't go any deeper than that. It's just an idea. Back to entrepreneurial ADD, that was something I mentioned, is like, I think my ultimate dream as a business person is to just like have a bunch of people, and I could just be like, new idea, like, you do this, you do that, you do that, you do that, boom, we have a new business. Like, that would be so cool. And just like have like tons of money to just like invest in it, and just like be like this internal like incubator for new businesses. Let's see. I have a pair, hodl. Yeah, definitely gonna hodl the Gary Vee shoes. Gary coin. Let's see. I totally understand. I saw a product yesterday and some other guru literally put it in a video today. So I immediately was like, well, shit. Yeah, that happens a lot. And it's just a weird, and that's even why, like, at some point I might just stop with one-on-one consulting, because it's like, there's just so much weird balancing of that. And truthfully, what I do now, just so you guys know, is if somebody asks me about a product that I already have conflict of interest in some way, I just tell them, like, look, like, this is a product I've looked at, or this is a product that competes with my product, and I'm just going to give you my answer 100% anyways. But just so you know that for the record, like, I might compete with you at some point, or I might already compete with you. But, you know, I always just say that. But then still, it's like, then I'm worried that they're not trusting what I'm saying. But like, truthfully, I'm just trying to give them the real answer. But it's a weird area to be doing all of that. So, you know, like, at some point that could even be a contributing reason to why I would stop, because it's like, you know, yeah, somebody has an idea for, like, you know, a coffee brand, and it's like, you know, that's not there's nothing unique about, like, I've had ideas for coffee brands. I've had ideas, like, I don't even want to say other examples because then somebody's going to be like, well, that was my idea. You know, it's weird. It's a little weird for sure. All right, one last question, perhaps. Have you ever tried to both ship air and sea in an order? Yeah, that's what I do almost all the time. Basically, every new product, that's what I do. I'll ship a small quantity by air, get it up and listed faster at a lower margin. I'm okay with that. And then as those sell through, I start getting some reviews, I start getting some traction, then the sea shipment arrives. And I like that a lot. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up there. But if you're in the live chat, what I like to do, I usually jump into the text chat right after I turn it off. So I'll be in there for a minute or two. If you guys are in here live, if you're watching the replay, thanks a ton. If you stumbled on this and you are not already subscribed, be sure to hit subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. There are a bunch of links. There's a Facebook group. There is the course. There is the consulting calls. There's all kinds of software, all that stuff that you might need, just stuff that I personally use or that I could think would help you. All in the description. Subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the bell. That's how you'll know I'm doing these, so you can get in here next time and get your question answered live.